Let's talk about Anthony Joshua again. I do need to ask your opinion about Student Gate. A lot of people have had their opinion. I mean, I just thought myself, if you're going to shout it, then you got to somehow back it. But it doesn't usually happen. But
I saw a lot of stuff in the paper that they were shouting stuff about Tyson Fury. They really weren't. I'm sure they did at some point, but it was a bit more X-rated than that. And
what was it then?
I'm not going to say what exactly was said, but look, there was a lot of stuff that you just don't say to people. And if you're going to say it, you can't expect. You're not on Twitter. You're shouting it to a heavyweight fighter, and you're shouting personal insults to him. You can't not expect anything back. And you know, it was. I did laugh at imagining. You know, you imagine a situation. I'm sure you've had a few beers. Yeah, why you so and so, whatever. And then you're making your way back up to your apartment, and all of a sudden AJ steams in and says, "Sit down." I mean, he was not physical with anyone.
He took his shoes off. I think he buzzed in, and by the way, yeah.
I'm not being funny. That really sums him up. He took his shoes off before he came in to give these guys a dressing and get down. But look, people interpret it how they want. I spoke to him about it, and you know, he told me a few things that were said, and it's hard, isn't it? Because I guess in his position, you've got to behave in a certain way, supposedly. But
you nearly lost it with that fan, wherever that was. Tottenham, Tottenham, wasn't it?
I mean, look, once I'd seen the size of the person, I might have lost it with this person as well. But sometimes someone pushes your buttons. But if you're going to get abused, like publicly, you've got to face the consequences, haven't you? So I think it was very polite of him to take his shoes off. That's my final comment on the situation.
Eddie,
Ooh, what's good, family? Shout out to the General Louis Perkins for boosting up your man the YB coin. So we just heard there from your mans, Eddie, from Down Bad Room, aka Rematch Room Promotions, Hearn, reacting to / breaking his silence on AJ versus Uni Student Gate. Now, I am quite, well, I'm not surprised, but it is funny that during the interview was about an hour, yeah? Eddie Hearn categorically has been missing for the last week, ever since the news, let's not forget people, the news kicked off 6 days ago now, maybe even a week ago now, and guess what, Eddie Hearn ain't done an interview since he'd been missing. Anyway, 2-2s. Eddie Hearn doesn't actually address the topic, or Cookie Bear doesn't actually bring it up until the last 10 minutes or something. And in doing so, Eddie Hearn, I think I may even included it in the clip, he says, "Oh, I'm not going to speak no more on it." And that tells you that Eddie's arse been flapping. He waited for it to cool down, typical. I have to give Eddie Hearn some credit here. This was textbook public relations management. Yeah, don't say anything, let it all cool down. Yeah, what you don't want to do is get involved in the fray within the first 24, 48 hours. That's what you don't want to do, because it opens it all up. It brings more attention to it. Let it lay down for a week, and then slip in some comments, slip in a sentence worth of comments, just so people know it has been addressed somewhere a week later. Yeah, that's what this was, 100%. Slip in a line worth of comments 50 minutes into an interview with Cookie Bear. Yeah? And then say at the end of it, "I ain't going to say no more on it." Now, it's hilarious the way he tried to spin it. "Oh, yeah, this shows you, hey, even AJ's really respectful. He even took his shoes off." That's what Eddie's Hearn thing was. He sat on the fence and said, "Yeah, well, you know, they actually didn't say anything about Tyson. It wasn't about Tyson Fury. They actually said some personal things, but I can't mention what they were." So, what Eddie's doing there is, again, removing accountability from AJ. "Oh, they said some really bad things, and it was nothing to do with Tyson Fury, but I can't tell you." Why did you bring that up for then? I hate when people do that, you know. "Oh, it's really bad, but I can't tell you." Just shut up then. Don't say anything about it then if you can't tell people. Honestly, nothing more pisses me off here when people say, "Oh, I got this really good thing I got this really bad thing or whatever, but I can't tell you." Well, Just keep it to yourself then. Goofy, weird-ass dudes. The people who do that, they want you to... Well, it leaves it open then, and it gives AJ more plausible excuses. Well, yeah. And a lot of... I've actually heard some of the people say apparently it was racist remarks. That's what... In my opinion, the Matchroom HQ. That's the narrative they started pumping out last week. It started going out that, they said some, it was to do with AJ. Myself personally, I don't believe it. I've been to Loughborough University and it's full of, especially in this day and age, after 2020, I just don't believe it myself. The reason 2020 is important is because of the whole BLM thing and all that. Ever since that happened, it's gone the other way in my opinion. Especially that kind of middle class set. They love, oh yeah mate, got the BLM wrist strap on, and yeah, they love it. The middle class dons do, for the most part. So I find it hard to believe. And I went to Loughborough University and it just wasn't that kind of vibe. Yeah, it was more of a hoity-toity vibe where, yeah, there's a lot of dons with their nose in the air, but it's almost, it wasn't that gritty. It wasn't that gritty, rough BNP or UKIP vibe, is what I'm saying. Do you get what I'm saying? It was that upper nose one. Yeah, them nose ones. Them ones there, where their nose is in the air. One of them ones. It was almost above. The vibe was, it was almost above. They're not going to lower themselves to that. Yeah, they was too hoity-toity for that. That's the vibe I had. There was no way. Especially not to someone big and burly. Especially not to a big burly Nick as well. That's just not what it was. Do you understand? No, listen, no posh don wants to roll around with a big burly Nick. They just don't want to do that. They're more likely to get... they're much more likely to... I don't know. The point is... Listen. At that level, the middle and upper class dons, they ain't on the roadside... On no BNP thing. Do you understand? They ain't trying to be on the roadside doing them kind of things. They're more what's the word? It's more institutional at that level, if you get what I'm saying. They're more likely to overlook you for a promotion. They ain't going to be on the roadside saying, yeah, Nick Nog. They ain't going to be doing that. That's what they're not going to be doing, in my opinion. So I'm sorry, but as someone who is of colour and spent 4 years at Loughborough, I just don't believe it. And Eddie, I wouldn't have mentioned nothing about it, but the fact Eddie come along, I can't tell you, it wasn't... Shut up, Eddie, man, stop capping. You're capping right now. And rather than take responsibility, he trying to go the other way. Let's try and spin it to another narrative. I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie come out in a few weeks and says, it's terrible. We see it in football all the time. Apparently, I don't watch football, but apparently football has a problem where, especially in Europe, where they throw bananas on the pitch and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't even know why. Well, whatever. But yeah, obviously that's dead. But this wasn't one of them ones, is the point. But it wouldn't surprise me if Eddie come along and said, sports got a terrible problem at the moment, with this thing, and they were throwing bananas at AJ. Eddie, you capping, man. Stop capping. Yeah. What it was, I told you what it was. Got called a bodybuilder. Yeah, the uni goobers were locked into the white bee and he got mugged off. That's what it was. Own it. Stop trying to spin narratives. It wasn't nothing to do with Tyson Fury. Shut up. It was absolutely everything to do with Tyson Fury. And you know it. That's why you didn't want to say nothing. Because you got to remember, Eddie's smart. He knows he can't drop that kind of bomb. He can't drop the race bomb as such. If it's not true, because them cats will come with a defamation lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Them ones there. And that's why, in my opinion, Eddie can't tell you what was said, because it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? He can infer it. I can't say it's really bad. It was more personal than that. Come on now. Although, it could also be, which is actually true, I did leak the news, that AJ had been caught in a number of them young ones. He loves them young boys, man. That's what I'm here. I'm gonna tell you what I'm here. I'm here and he loves the boys, man. That's what I'm saying. Oops, 100%. You got begs the question, what's AJ doing? With his shoes off and his trousers round his ankles and a whole bunch of young dudes, halls. oops. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Damn, AJ, you be looking hella comfy in them youngest halls, innit? I don't know about that myself. Shoes off and all sorts. And Eddie, of course, likes to spin it. Oh no, he's just so polite. Eddie, he polite. Yeah, he politely getting in them young uni cheeks. What you be doing? Yeah, 100%. Fact. That's what I'm just telling you what you're doing. Eddie be spinning it. Oh no, it just shows you. Again, rather than address it, Eddie, how would? And I guess you can say, well, whatever. But listen, Eddie, you a company man, AJ company man. So explain to us what company man got doing. And to be honest with you, freedom of speech is supposed to mean you can say what you want, does it not? Yeah? Does it not? I don't know. So whatever they did say, why? And in fact, I've got another video coming soon. Guess what? Tyson Fury's called out AJ before. Why don't AJ go pull up on Tyson Fury, for example? Oh, it's one of them ones. And that's what I said the other day. It's more nuanced. It's not really what AJ did against the Goopers wasn't really the issue. The issue is, for me, I agree, in most cases, Goobers need to be checked. But the problem was that AJ don't be checking no one else. He grin teeth, yeah? That's what he does. When Dillian White pulled up, he grin teeth. When Tyson Fury pulled up, he grin teeth. Be consistent. If we're on a checking thing, be on a checking thing. Check them all. But that's not the persona you've given out. AJ's given out the persona of a good house Donny. Yeah, he work in the big house. He work in Massa Hearn's big house. That's what I'm just telling you the vibe he be giving off. AJ be giving off the BFN, the big friendly one. Yeah, he big and he friendly, and he work in Massa Hearn big house. That's where he does work. Yeah, that's what it is. That's the vibe you give off. All of a sudden, you went from the friendly Massa Hearn's friendly Nick. You turned into the other one. Oh no, I'm in the fields. I'm picking the cotton. You ain't from the fields. That's where you're not from. You're from the big house. Yeah, you listen, AJ. You don't know about the fields. You're not from the fields. You're from Massa Hearn's big house. Yeah, you work up in the big house. You're on the fields with a YB. That's where you're not. 100%. Yeah, AJ, you look at your hands. Your hands are soft. You ain't picking no cotton. Yeah, you're from the big house. Facts. 100%. AJ wouldn't know a hard day's work if it slapped him in the head. That's what he wouldn't know. Yeah? But anyway, listen. Eddie, you can jock and drive all you want. You can try and change the narrative all you want. Your man AJ clapped. Yeah? And the truth is, the reason you even brought up about, AJ's so polite. Yeah, even when he takes his shoes off. What do we know? A few days ago, the YB was the one who exposed the fact that this was all fixed, and you can tell because AJ had his shoes off, and that's what Eddie Hearn's replying to that. Rather than come out and say, "Oh, I saw YB's video and he got us." Oops, he got the whole rematch room PR machine, caught them slipping, trying to remarket AJ as a big hard ass. Rather than say that, oh no, YB, it wasn't the fact that it was all fixed and that's why he's had his shoes off, it's because he's just so polite. Come on. Don't make no sense whatsoever. Yeah? If someone shouts out of a window, YB, you big burly Nick, yeah? And I go up there, there's not, literally, in 1,000 situations, not one would you take your shoes off. Who can do that? Imagine, I said the other day, in the history of pulling up, not one man took his shoes off. Because strategically, it's actually the worst thing to do. When you've got no shoes on, you're vulnerable. Yeah? If shit gets sticky, you don't want to have no shoes on. That's what you don't want to have. How can you run with no shoes on, for example? Yeah? Don't no one take their shoes off. And that's how you know it's all fixed in. And I'm sick of these cats giving the YB no flowers. Eddie, you're locked in. Stop capping about it was this, that, the other. No. You watched the YB video, you realise you've been caught slipping and it was all fixed. And that's why you're talking about, oh no. It wasn't because YB exposed us for making the video up. It's because he's so polite and that's why shut up. Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait to see what the next Rematch Room Promotions marketing video is for AJ. Yeah? No doubt.